各位记者朋友
Friends from the media, good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. Now, please raise your question.
谢谢凤凰卫视提问。据报道，日本国家
Phoenix TV, it's reported that Japan's National Security Advisor, Keiichi, articulated Japan's position on Prime Minister Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan, refuted China's statement during his recent conversations with officials from the UK, France, and Germany. He said Takaichi's remarks didn't change the Japanese side's consistent position. Some in Japan claim that Japan is a peace-loving country and China's accusations are groundless. What's your response? What the Japanese side said and did is yet another example of how some in Japan knowingly distort facts, refuse to correct their wrongdoings, and attempt to feign innocence for sympathy in the international community. It's not the first time that the right-wing forces in Japan have concocted false narratives. They depicted Japan's war of aggression against Asian neighbors as the liberation of Asia, downplayed the horrendous Nanjing massacre as the Nanjing incident, whitewashed infamous Unit 731 as a public health research unit, and dismissed forced labor and comfort women as voluntary acts. After the war, Japan has described itself as a victim of the war, while avoiding mentioning that militarism is the source of warfare. It claims to uphold the exclusively defense-oriented principle and the passive defense strategy, but has removed the ban on exercising the right to collective self-defense, kept relaxing restrictions on arms exports, and even attempted to revise its three non-nuclear principles. Takaichi's erroneous remarks on Taiwan have been met with Chinese people's indignation as well as opposition and criticism from Japan and some other countries. What the Japanese side should do is to listen to those calls and do soul-searching rather than persuade other countries to believe in their groundless explanations, which were called a snub. We urge some in Japan to stop spreading false narratives, face up to the history, reflect on and correct the wrongdoings, retract the erroneous remarks, honor the commitments, and act responsibly to offer China and the world a satisfactory answer. Next one, please.
Thank you, spokesperson.
路透社。《华尔街日报》报道称，中国在巴拿马运河两个港口的交易谈判中增加了要求，希望中远集团持有控股权。您能否证实，中方还在这一些贝莱德主导的谈判中想要获得什么？
我不掌握你。
I'm not familiar with that. On CK Hutchison's sales of its assets overseas, the Chinese side has made responses to that more than once.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
《日本电视台》高市早苗涉台言论之后，中国外交部召见了东南亚国家的大使，并且批评了日本，转达了希望东南亚各国支持中国的立场。中方这么做的目的是什么？
中国外交部同
Chinese MFA has kept normal business contact with all the countries' embassies in China. One China principle is the prevailing basic norms in international relations and a prevailing consensus of the international community, including the Southeast Asia. The Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan, severely violating the international law and the basic norms in international relations, blatantly challenge the victorious outcomes of World War II and international justice. The dangerous move of the resurgence of Japanese militarism has raised serious concerns of the regional countries and people. Defending the post-war international order and humanity's conscience and justice is the common interest and the master option of all countries. We have noticed recently lots of regional countries re-emphasize to uphold the One China principle, oppose Taiwan independence, support China's reunification. alert and confront the resurgence of militarism. Japanese side should seriously listen to it, do soul searching, do not distort the facts and stir up trouble. Next question, please.
中新社记者提问：据报道，泰
China News Service has reported that Thai troops seized Chinese-made anti-tank missiles and other equipment from Cambodian forces. What's China's response? For anything specific, I'd refer you to competent authorities. Let me stress that China has conducted normal defense cooperation with both Thailand and Cambodia, which doesn't target any third party and has nothing to do with the Thailand-Cambodia border conflict. Next one, please. RIA Novosti. Previously, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service said in a report that the UK, France and Germany prepare to establish closer ties with China as leverage and bargaining chips against the US over the Ukraine peace deal. What's the ministry's comment?
中方在乌克兰危
China's position on the Ukraine crisis is consistent and clear. We support all efforts conducive to the peaceful settlement of the crisis and hope parties will reach a fair, lasting and binding peace agreement through dialogue and negotiation at an early date. China follows an independent foreign policy for peace. We develop relations and engage in cooperation with other countries on the basis of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, and at the same time, we firmly safeguard our sovereignty, security, and development interests.
下一个问题。
Next one, please.
RIA Novosti. The European Commission hopes to call on EU countries to make a decision on the use of frozen Russian assets at the EU summit to be held on December 18th and 19th. Will such a decision sap China's confidence in the EU investment environment?
中方一贯
China opposes unilateral sanctions that violate international law and lack the authorization of the UN Security Council. Parties need to foster a positive atmosphere and create favorable conditions for promoting talks for peace and the political settlement of the Ukraine crisis rather than the other way around.
下一个问题。
Next, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any other questions?
好，今天的记者。
This is all for today's press conference. Thank you for coming.